Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on Saturday, April 12th. Listen to me. April 19, 2025. It's Saturday afternoon. And yes, I will have the live stream tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So I did receive a response back from Adam, the young man who is now 21 years old, who started writing a book called The Targeted Individual Spiritual Survival Guide, Gang-stalking. He started writing it at age 16, completed it at age 18, and he had no idea that anybody would even want to read his book. But there was a woman that reached out to me on Quora and sent it to me. She thought that I might like to read it on my channel, and I started to. Evidently, it finally got back to him because I started this last year, started reading some of it last year, I think part 1, 2, and 3. And it got back to him. He reached out, and he would like to update some of the information. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do that. We're on the same time zone, but I did hear back from him, and he would like to make some changes and corrections to it. I don't know what they are yet, but obviously he wants to speak live. So I invited him to the chat tonight, and I'm not sure if he'll make it. So if he does, then you can ask him any questions. But I'm going to show you, in case you want to re-listen to this stellar survival guide written by a 16-year-old at the time. And his name is Adam, and I'll show you what it looks like on my channel. So you can search for it here. So he drew that. And that's the cover of his book. Okay, so I have part 1, 2, and 3. And I just want to let you know that my laptop is extremely slow. It's like running on low memory and stuff. And I've been trying to delete stuff, but it's not just that. I've got a lot of interference on my laptop and my phone that's causing a lot of it. A lot of people coming going from my house. And I want to show you also, I ordered a couple of books online. I follow a channel by a bona fide malignant narcissist, you know, and he says that he is, and it sounds like he is. But he has written prolific number of books, videos on YouTube. His name is H.G. Tudor. And I'll tell you that when I listen to this guy sometimes, I mean, he's quite intelligent, quite charming, and really scary. But what he does is he educates the public about what it's like dealing with somebody like him and how he views you and I, which is not good. And it is scary. But he's brutally honest, and he's written some books, and I ordered a couple of more books. I do have another book that I purchased from him back in New Jersey. I don't know where it is. And so I received them today. I'm going to show you how the 3 Masons damaged my books in transit or at the Amazon packaging center. So let me show you quickly here. So this is the binder. The corner is bent backwards. I've got the little 3 Mason scrapes all over it, all over the book. Scrapes all over it. You can see here. 1, 2, 3. You see the scrapes here on the book? The little corner turned back. This is the top corner. Let me just show you. Bent backwards. And we'll flip the book over. And you can see that it's creased here. Brand new book. Creases, scratches everywhere because, you know, these are malignant narcissists. They know that I like to read books, that I collect books, and oh look at that little corner there. Okay, so now this is book number 1. I'm going to show you what the name of the book is called. Sitting Target, How and Why the Narcissist Chooses You by H.G. Tudor. I do recommend his books, by the way. They're quite good. This is another one called Fuel, H.G. Tudor. And let's see what they did to this book. It's on the other side, mostly. Okay, so they scraped the book from here down. I'll show you. You see that? The corners of the book. And this is what you have to do to your belongings. You have to examine them close up. Oh, wow, look at that nice scratch over there on this nice new book. Right? Now, you know, if I were in a different frame of mind, if I didn't live in the middle of nowhere and have to repackage all this stuff, I'd send both books back and get a new one. Because that's the way I am with my books. But I'm just going to keep it because they're going to damage it anyway. So I just want to show you. This is how brand new books arrive here in Jackson County, Kentucky. And it's likely the Three Masons, right? The Three Mason losers. And everybody's been wondering and talking about Andrew Boswell and his passing, and if I knew the details and what the cause of death was. I don't know. More than likely his family won't know. And if for some reason there is some investigation that claims that he did it to himself, that is a crock of bull crap. Okay, that guy is so spiritual, he would never take his own life. Never. So what I'm showing you here is a little card here about dew. And I'm not talking about the water droplets either. I'm talking about the directed energy weapons. You know, those pew-pews for plausible deniability. You know, the ones that they can carry handheld in their backpacks and point them directly at you. The military grade ones in your community. Yeah, the ones that the Department of Defense sell to your local law enforcement. You know, when they get tired of their old technology, and you know, there's so much of it because they've got new stuff with your tax dollars every year. Every day of the year, they're getting some new stuff and they can't house it all. So they auction it off. They publicize it. How do I know this? I'm on their mailing list. It's called contracts. You can go to the Department of Defense website and sign up for their contracts newsletter, and you too will receive one a day, sometimes two, one a day that tell you how your tax dollars are being spent on things like renovating a building, you know, over 2 years, buying new weapons and stuff, and how they need to make room for the new ones. So they want to give away the other ones, but you have to attend the auction. You have to fill out a request form. So for all of you people that say, well, my local department is so small, they can't afford this stuff. Some of them are getting it for free. Okay? If there's a targeted person in their community and they can't afford these weapons, you think they're not going to get them somehow? Come on. Let's wake up, people. There is so much of this stuff on the black market. Have you heard about how many times somebody leaves the military, favorably or not, and steals some of their equipment? They can't find the equipment. Yeah, that happens a lot. It happens a lot, actually. They steal the equipment. Or the equipment will just go up missing because, you know, some of them will just pass them off to some of their friends and, you know, smuggle them out. Like that isn't happening. That isn't a thing. But also, surprise, surprise, you can buy some of these things on eBay. And there are several websites around, but they're not going to advertise that this is what you're buying. They're going to use different kind of wording. And then when you actually order it, like I've done on eBay, like in the past, because I wanted to see what it was, and I actually gave it away because I didn't want to touch the damn thing. So I ordered it on eBay, and if anybody ever orders anything on eBay, you know that you can provide feedback. And you just scroll down to your list of purchases, and I could never find the purchase. When I found the purchase on the day that I purchased it, the words of what I purchased were completely different. It was some ambiguous thing that I never bought. And I would contact the seller, and they would never respond. Because basically what I purchased was one of these things that are illegal. They're not supposed to be selling them on eBay. eBay doesn't sell the... Well, no, that's not true. eBay is not supposed to sell these things. But a lot of sellers are selling them. But they're not being called this. They're being called something else, like a... What do you call those lasers that you use for the kitties, that they chase the little red dot around and stuff like that? So yeah, you can buy these things online. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't. They are available. You can buy a laser and a taser online for personal protection. All different kinds. Police grade. Yes, and you can also buy police grade cameras, body cameras. You know, like the ones that the coppers wear. You can buy one for yourself too. They're a little expensive, but they are available for sale. So don't let anybody tell you that there's no such thing as handheld devices. That is bullcrap. And I also know, because there is one woman in the targeted community, she was so good, she actually caught her perpetrator on video and camera with the damn backpack and the energy weapon pointing right at her. And guess what? Once she was able to prove it and stuff, her targeting stopped. Yeah. So, you know, 1 in a million, it happens. So keep your eyes out for these backpacks or these vehicles that drive back and forth, and then suddenly these weird lights start flashing in your direction. So anyway, tonight I'm probably going to read some of these books. Sitting Target, How and Why the Narcissist Chooses You. And look at how my phone is like vibrating in and out. I guess they're getting a little nervous. They're getting a little nervous when you speak the truth around here. Oh, it stopped. Okay, so they're not nervous anymore. Sitting Target, How and Why the Narcissist Chooses You by H.G. Tudor. Oh, I just found something else they did. Let me show you. Let me show you what they did in here. See where my finger is? Look. They stabbed it, and look at the, look, right there. The front. Oh, yes, look, right in the heart they did that. Oh, my goodness. You trying to send me a message or something? Yeah, I woke up and my feet were vibrating this morning. My heels were vibrating. How does that happen when you're sleeping? How do you wake up with vibrating heels of your feet? I know they're trying to disable me so they could steal my property. Well, on the introduction it says, we never choose our victims at random. We engage in careful and measured selection of those we wish to draw into our world and serve our purposes. People put a lot of effort into choosing where they'll live and the type of career that they will follow. We put plenty of effort, consideration, and planning into choosing our victims. You may have performed the dance with a narcissist, and now, having largely escaped, you may be wondering, why you? Why you? Why were you chosen and treated like a queen and then thrown off the pedestal into the dirt below? Did the narcissist decide at the outset to subject you to this bewildering contrast in behaviors? Or were you just unlucky? You may still be in the grip of the narcissist, and you are searching for answers as to what drew the narcissist to you in order to gain some understanding which will give you peace of mind to allow you to plot your escape. Which they're preventing here in Jackson County, Kentucky, preventing me from selling my property. Oh, but it will sell this year because, like I said, if for some reason it doesn't, I'm going to be getting a lot of money. And I'll have no problem buying another property. A lot of money with no gag order. You may know someone you care about who has been targeted by our kind. He calls our kind. He does this on his videos too when he talks about himself as our kind. Like they are a different breed of people. And you want to know why, so you can reach out and help that friend or family member. Finally, you may belong to that rare group of people who knows about me and my kind. And you want to ensure you see us coming. You want to know what it is that attracts our kind to your kind, so that you could be vigilant and take steps to evade our clutches. It may be the case you know other people who have fallen foul of our machinations. You may belong to a victim or survivor group where various war stories are swapped as horrific tales are exchanged about what has happened to each of you. Interestingly, many of these groups become a little more than forums for two things: the detailing, sometimes on a day-to-day basis, of the abuse that is being doled out, and a place to rail against the narcissist. Some clearly find it cathartic to explain in detail what the narcissist did to them today, and to ask others what their views are about the way the victim was treated. Often these groups will go around in circles as the victim asks another, why is he doing this? I'm just reading the introduction, by the way. How do I make it stop? The bile and hatred for the narcissist is spewed forth in this entirely understandable. Pictures are created with the typically inspirational quote or message written underneath and posted in a valiant attempt to raise spirits and promote healing. Again, this is all understandable and obviously has a value. However, I do not see these groups ever seeking to debate why each person was chosen. Many may think this themselves, but it does not tend to appear as something which is discussed. On a few occasions where it does, reference is made to the fact that the victims are empathic, are kind and decent people. Well, those are relevant and important traits, but the simple fact is that these discussions do not get far because the victims do not really know why they have been selected. They do not understand the true nature as to why the narcissist picked them. Now, you will be able to change that situation. Did the narcissist choose you because you have green eyes or blue eyes or brown eyes? Did the narcissist choose you because of your job? The fact you have children or do not have children? Did he choose you because you have long hair or short cropped locks? Did he select you because of your choice of music, the nature of your favorite food, or was it because you happened to be stuck in a lift together, like an elevator? Does the narcissist just choose anybody to be his victim and in reality has no discerning taste as to who he sinks his fangs into? Is it the case that anybody and everybody is a potential victim for the narcissist and everyone is at risk of becoming ensnared? I will be addressing considerations such as these. I know my vast experience that our victims, either when still in our clutches or surveying the aftermath of their tumultuous time with us, will always wonder, why me? I have written other publications about how the need to know and understand is a central part of our victim's psyche. You need to understand why things happen to you, can then choose the most appropriate step to take. You are also often burdened with guilt, and in so many scenarios you will ask yourself whether you are to blame. You will analyze your behavior and the dance you performed with us as you try to gain some kind of understanding as to what has happened. We know that you will obsess because we make you do it over every detail of what happened. You will recall each day of your involvement with us and be able to recount the events, the things said, and the action taken in considerable detail. Although you will not understand what has happened, you will consider whether you ought to have done something in a different fashion, if there was an alternative which may have brought about the change in the outcome. As you sit mulling these events over, debating them with your closest friends and family members, one question will keep manifesting in your mind. Why me? Why did he or she choose me? What is it about me that he or she wanted? Am I a bad person? Did I deserve to be treated like this in some way? Did I bring it on myself? Was I naive and missed certain clues as to this person's behavior? Could I have done anything in a different way? Should I have listened more to what people were saying? You may find yourself among the growing number of people who have been selected by our kind more than once. It's entirely common for this to happen. Some people do not realize that they have become enmeshed with one of our kind, so that it happens a second and third time. You may have been a victim of our kind through parental influence and then targeted by our kind in the context of friendship, or even more likely an intimate relationship. You ought to realize that being a victim of more than one narcissist is increasingly common. Absolutely agree, 10,000%. We are a society of narcissists, and probably if we were to start performing the statistical analysis, the statistics would be extremely high of anybody meeting and hooking up with another narcissist in this lifetime. Highly, highly likely. I know, because I live in a town where that's all there is here. That's all there is. And that goes from the local government down to the little perpy derpy doos and the witchy poos. Oh, and you can't forget those 3 Mason lodges, right? You ought to realize that being a victim of more than one narcissist is increasingly common. This is for reasons which I will expand on below. Not only do you ponder why were you chosen, but also sit and look back and ask yourself, how the hell did that happen? How was it that one day you were making your way through life, attending to your home, carrying out your job, and then sometime later you were left devastated after being sucked into our false reality? You hear that? False reality, spun around and around, and then unceremoniously hurled to the wayside as we disappeared into the sunset, arm in arm with our next victim. Well, I could hardly wait. I could hardly wait for them to spin around and go on to their next victim. How did you get from confident and independent person to one who was truly suckered and mesmerized by our kind? How did we seek you out? How did we charm you in such a manner? I'm telling you, folks, I was not charmed by my neighbors. Maybe one, but no, I was not charmed. No, there was nothing charming about my neighbors. How did we achieve all this without you having any realization as to what was actually going on? And in fact, I'm going to tell you something. I was living here about 2 weeks. I was talking to my mother on the phone, and I said, I don't like Scarlett. I don't like her. I got a bad vibe about her. And my mother, being that she is, the go along to get along, nice person, she says, "Oh, just be nice and everything." And she's trying to do this and whatever. I said, I don't like her. And I don't like when people discount what my feelings are, and to tell me that I should not be feeling a certain way when that's my intuition telling me to not trust the bitch. And I was right. I was right after I was living here 2 weeks, and I'm still right. Don't trust the bitch. I won't be explaining how we charm and seduce. That is for elsewhere. But what I will be providing you with clarity is how we went about selecting you, and we went about getting into position to then advance our charm as we love bombed you into submission. Much of this will be complete news to you, but by learning about it, you will gain understanding, which in turn will allow you to apply it to your own benefit and benefit of others. Whichever group you happen to belong to, you're in the right place if you are looking for answers. You will not find lengthy scientific or psychological explanations here. There are plenty of texts accommodating those who wish to delve into the narcissist world in that way. But they're often lengthy, rambling, and fail to bridge the gap between the theory and the practical. This is not the case here. You have a distinct advantage of gaining this knowledge and information from a master practitioner of the dark art of narcissism. I am a narcissist. I have known this for some time as a consequence of my own intellect and also the repeated involvement of specialists who form part of my treatment, which is very much ongoing. As part of this treatment, it is also my desire to have an audience. I have set down in writing many elements of the narcissistic lifestyle, worldview, and behaviors in order to allow you to consider them and in turn gain a far better understanding of what we are and why we act as we do. Whilst victims and therapists provide a valuable role in aiding understanding and suggesting methods of recovery, they are not able to convey exactly what we think and why we act as we do, because they are not us. I'm able to share with you my thoughts and actions, relay events that have happened in order to allow you to gain unrivaled access to the mind of the narcissist. This is not always comfortable reading, but I'm not going to pull any punches. As to do so would insult you, and we are not at that stage just yet. I will provide you direct and uncompromising examples and explanations which will give you a level of understanding which you have not previously been able to access from other providers. And I will tell you, after reading the first book that I purchased from him, I was so creeped out. I'm telling you that after reading his book, I felt that this man is so dangerous. And as part of his therapy and part of his, I think, incarceration and work that he had to do on himself, he was required to help others. And as a result, he has created a couple of YouTube channels that are very well viewed. He has discussed other narcissists in the media. He pulls no punches. He tells you exactly how they view us. And it is deeply disturbing. And besides the fact that he's got this wonderful voice and accent, so it makes it sound so beautiful. With this beautiful British accent he's got while he's tearing us apart. You need to subscribe to his channel and actually buy the books. And no, I'm not affiliated with him in any way, shape, or form. In this book, I'm going to explain to you why you're a sitting target, oblivious to what's coming your way. One of the key points which you will be able to take away from this book is the fact that you did nothing wrong. None of this was your fault. You were not asking for it, quote unquote, when you were targeted by our kind and subsequently ensnared. You had no idea that you would be seduced and devalued, and there was no possible way you could escape it. You did not recognize what was pouring sugar into your ears and charming you, so you had no hope for anticipating what was going to happen and even less of a hope of avoiding it. You should remind yourself that it is not your fault. You're not at fault. You are blameless, since, as you will read, the machinations of our kind mean that you have no inkling of what we are doing. There was nothing you said or did which caused us to select you as our prey. It was not what you wore, what you drank, which caused us to draw near you. Conscious decisions you made had no impact on the fact that we wanted you. By understanding how and why you were targeted, you will be able to address the guilt that you feel. You will realize that you stood no chance because of the very fact that you were not chosen at random. You were carefully chosen as a consequence of a considered campaign to identify you as best serving our needs. Once selected, we were able to apply our charm and seduction, our manipulation to you in order to bring about the result we required. In essence, your fate was sealed the moment that we saw you and decided that we would ascertain whether you would give us what we want. Someone like you, for reasons which will become apparent, will always attract our kind. Well, isn't that nice to know? You are the single light in the darkness which, like moths, we will flock to. You are the sole source of water in a vast desert, and your spring is where we parched individuals must drink deep from. You stand out to people like us. You are highlighted and exposed. There is no way, when you are unaware of just how attractive you are to us, for you to escape our attentions. It is only when you realize that, moreover, understand how and why we chose you, that you can look for our advances. You may not be able to stop our approach from happening, as we tend to exhibit considerable enthusiasms for ensnaring you. But you will know what is happening, and then be in a far better position to make the correct decisions which allow you to escape our snaking tendrils before they begin to take hold on you. I will explain to you the types of target that we concern ourselves with, why those targets are so attractive to us, and then the hunting grounds which we stalk in order to find your kind. Once you have been located, I will detail the preparatory work which we engage in order to bring about your seduction, the green lights that tell us our targeting is correct, and how you will eventually succumb to our onerous overtones. I will explain to you what it is that we want from you and why you, above anyone else, is in the best possible position to provide those things for you. I will allow you to understand how we approach our victims and how our tendrils wrap around you so you have no chance to escape us. Most of all, I will allow you to understand finally how you are a sitting target and how and why I chose you as my victim. You will most likely reading this because you have suffered since you have been in a relationship of an intimate nature with a narcissist. That is where the most danger is done. This is because those who are enmeshed with us in an intimate sense are those who are at greatest risk of being abused, since intimate partners are usually, but although not exclusively, those who are subjected to our cycle of seduction, devaluation, discard, and then hoover. There are other categories of what I refer to as proximity of supply. The closeness and nature of the victim's relationship with a narcissist may be subjected to this cycle, but often many categories outside of the intimate relationship are only subjected to seduction. This is because those other people, friends, family members, colleagues, minions, acquaintances, and so on, like divorce lawyers and feral cat cartel psychopaths, or celebrity narcissists, have a role to play in believing our facade, or former acquaintances, like when you're 16 years old and you have some moron chasing you when he goes into the military, and 30 years later he friends you on Facebook and then unfriends you because he's some kind of psycho. This is because other people, friends, family members, colleagues, minions, acquaintances, and so forth, have a role to play in believing our facade that we are kind, decent, interesting, and honest people. We do not ever want this facade to be destroyed for two main reasons. One, the maintenance of the facade enables us to continue to draw positive fuel from those who believe it. Thus, the people who think we're wonderful will continue to provide positive fuel by admiring us, loving us, telling us how special we are, how good we are at our jobs, and so forth. We want that to continue. And the second reason is to have ranks of people who will all testify to our good nature. So that should you try and smear our good name when we're devaluing you, and especially once we have discarded you, you will not be believed. You will be regarded as jealous, spiteful, and hateful, all of which will provide us with more fuel as you rant and rave about how awful we are and how blinded those are who look upon the facade. It also allows us to maintain a grip on you in readiness for our hoover by keeping you bewildered and disoriented. Thus, those who look on the facade are most often subjected to devaluation. This can happen where, say, a friend fails to keep up the supply of fuel, or they listen to your overtures and start to become disloyal, or they criticize us, which, as you know, we hate. But in the main, those who are needed to look on the facade will only ever find themselves in the seduction stage. It is, of course, entirely different for you by virtue of the fact that you were chosen as our intimate partner, and you're on the receiving end of astonishing love-bombing, horrendous devaluation, callous discard, and then ferocious hoover. Your susceptibility to the manipulative techniques which we deploy during these stages is also a factor in why you have been selected by us. And I detail more of that in later chapters. Central, as always, is to our behaviors is our need for fuel. You hear that? They need fuel. They need your attention. They need your reaction. They need your louche. They need your cortisol. They need your adrenaline. They're vampires. If you have not already done so, I recommend you read my book, Fuel. Oh, yes. I just bought that book. Right here, right here. As this will set out for you in detail why fuel is so important to us, how we get it, and how your role in all of this, among many other enlightening topics. I will frequently explain below how fuel affects why and how you have been targeted by the narcissist, but you will see that while this is the main consideration, it is not the sole consideration. It's the main, I'm going to say that again. It's the main consideration, but not the only consideration, as there are other important factors which come into play as well when we're considering whether or not to target you. This is the final paragraph of the introduction. I have little doubt that as you read on, you will experience that shudder of familiarity in many of the instances that I shall describe. I also know that you will be alarmed and horrified at the manner in which you have been targeted and how ruthlessly clinical our behavior is. Oh my goodness, doesn't that sound a little bit like those black op military psychopaths? How about those human terrain people? The human terrain teams, the video I posted yesterday. You should always keep in mind that whilst we chose you because of the way you are, it's not personal, since there are many people who could be chosen, and they would fulfill the same role as you did. You happen to come within our sights at a particular time, and because of what you are, you attracted our attention immediately. Whilst this is the case that many of our traits and attributes drew us to you, the reality is that you were selected because of what we are and our thirst. The cold manner in which we selected you should not be regarded as any reflection on you, but is entirely indicative of the manner in which we approach this task. It's a process for us. It is mechanical and devoid of emotion on our part. Of course, much of the reason why you were chosen concerns emotion. But that's on your side, not on ours. Read on and finally gain understanding as to why and how you were chosen by your narcissist. That's why they choose the empaths. That's why they choose the INFJ and INTJ personalities. The rarest personality types on the planet. So now, in chapter 2, maybe I'll read this during the chat tonight, is the type of target. It's the methodology of their selection of the target by two considerations. It's what we are, meaning them, and the role we wish to fill. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I hope you found this of interest. And I guess the criminals found it of interest to target the binder of my new book. Right? I guess they don't want us to figure out what they're about. And more importantly, we need to make sure that we understand this inside and out. Because if you decide to go into a court, you need to deliberately explain the type of person or persons that have chosen you. These are malignant narcissists. These are psychopaths. They are different than us. They think differently. They are different. As he clearly explains, he discusses their kind. Their kind is not you and me. We're different. Signing off for now. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And remember, I am a self-supporting channel. We do get a few pennies with monetization. So it really helps if you can listen to a 30-second sponsored advertisement. These sponsored advertisements appear directly when you click on When you pull up one of my videos, you will have an immediate sponsored ad. If you can listen to that for 30 seconds, we get a couple of bucks. It helps feed my animals, helps do repairs around here, helps get the message out there also. There will be another sponsored advertisement somewhere in the middle of a video. Most people click through it. If you can listen to even 30 seconds before clicking through, a lot of times the advertisement will actually complete itself and continue on to the video. So this is Lorraine signing off for now, and have a great day.